All right, this is lesson 3.4, graphing linear equations in standard form. This is a form you guys do need to understand. You will see it again when you get to Algebra 2 in high school. So it's not a super difficult form. Think of it as regular form, standard form. Your vocab today, standard form, x-intercept, and y-intercept. Do you have any questions on those vocab words? Standard form is just a specific layout of y equals mx plus b, just rearranged. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x line. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y line on a graph. Yes? And then old vocab, these are good ones, ordered pair. You guys remember what an ordered pair is? X and y. You should know that really comfortably by now. And then a quadrant on the graph. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about standard form. Standard form, you can see written here, this is what you really need in your journals, this right here. AX plus BY equals C. That is standard form. So when you're looking at an equation, y equals mx plus b, if it tells you put this in standard form, you're just rearranging it so you have x and y on the same side equals a number. That number can be 0, as long as you don't have like ax plus by minus 3 equals 0. If it did, you would move the 3 over. Okay? Horizontal lines, you can see here, you're going to have some values for the x or the y that are 0 because it's a horizontal line. For instance, here, y equals b, there's no slope, right? So it's just y equals the intercept. So that's when we had that yesterday, remember, in the practice? It's just a horizontal line at that y-intercept line. The x-intercept, you'll see you have an x value, but you don't, so you have a slope, but you don't have the y-intercept, the plus b at the end. Okay? And we'll have some examples. Question?
So the y equals mx plus b on the thing behind you.
Yes.
That the b is the y-intercept.
Always.
What would you have a different equation for x-intercept?
Yes, you would have a different equation for x-intercept. But the easiest way to find the x-intercept when you're dealing with this is plug 0 for for b, and then you have your x and y. Nope, that's not it. I told you wrong.
Isn't it you plug 0?
You plug 0 where y is and solve for x. And that'll tell you your x value, x-intercept. You can do that in standard form as well. It doesn't matter if it's in y-intercept form or standard form. If you want the x-intercept, you plug 0 in for y. If you want the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. All right, so let's practice this. All right, so we're going to graph these. The first ones are really easy. So in your journals, just make a sketch of this. It doesn't have to be super perfect. You'll get the concept. So we're graphing y equals 4. So y equals 4, that is in slope-intercept form, correct? Yeah, it just doesn't have a slope. So what kind of line are we looking at? Horizontal, because you just go on the y line, pick the dot, and it's horizontal. So y equals 4, I go to 4 and I put a dot. And then you don't have to solve, but you just pick another dot left or right, and then you know it's a horizontal line. Because no matter what value you put in for x, it's a 0. Any questions on how to draw a graph for a horizontal line? So anytime you see y equals in just a number, automatically you need to think that's a horizontal line at that number. It could be -2, it could be 3/4, it could be 17. Sure, but it's a horizontal line. Okay? Cool. So now when you see x equals -2, again, when you see x over there on the end being the equal, you automatically think this is a vertical line. So I'm going to go on the x line back to -2, put a dot, and then go up or down either way and put another dot because you know it's a vertical line, and then graph your vertical line. Any questions on that? So in your journals, it doesn't have to be all super detailed graph. You can do the graph lines, and then on the left one, you can go up to 4, put a dot, and draw a horizontal line. Like that's all you have to do. Like don't go overboard. Just so you get the concept. Good? Does anybody need more time? I see pondering happening. Do you have questions? It's okay if you do.
I don't know.
Okay. So the biggest thing is up here when you're looking at these equations. Y equals 4. Whenever you see that, it's missing this part, right? You see that this is missing. So you know that there is no slope. So if there's no slope, if you're running up a hill and the hill's gone, it's just a flat line, right? So you know it's a horizontal line. On the other one, X is saying X at the beginning instead of Y. So when you see that, you know there's not anywhere it crosses the Y line. So you know that it's going to be a vertical line going straight up at that point, -2. So because it's X, I go on the X axis back to -2, and then I know it's a vertical line right there.
Oh.
Yep.
I get it.
Sometimes I just got to rearrange how I say it, and it'll click. So don't be afraid to ask. Just say, Miss, it still is it clicking? I'll talk more. Good? Okay. I'm guessing you have monitoring progress. Yep, 1 and 2. Go ahead and do them. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about horizontal and vertical lines. I'm not going to ask you to write this stuff in your journal unless there's something that particularly stands out to you that you go, ooh, I should remember that. Let me write that down. But we've kind of already talked about this a bunch since the beginning of yesterday's lesson and today's. The x-intercept of this graph is the x-coordinate of a point where the graph crosses the x-axis. So you can see this right here. If you want to draw this little picture, that might be interesting in your journal. Like to have this as a quick reminder. Shows you where the x-intercept is. Whenever you hear that word intercept, think it's where it crosses that line. And the y-intercept, of course, is where it crosses the y-axis. To graph a linear equation in standard form, you have ax plus by equals c. You have to find the x and y intercepts, like you see on this little graph. They found the x and y intercepts, and then they graphed a line between those two intercepts. So it's like the same thing as finding 2 points on your line and graphing that. Instead of finding 2 random points, we're finding the intercepts specifically. So, as I said earlier, to find the x-intercept, you plug a 0 where y is, and then solve for x. To find the y-intercept, you plug a 0 where the x is. Which makes sense, because if I have the equation, and I just want to know one variable, not the other, to get rid of a variable, you times it by 0. Okay? So let's practice this. It's like a super fast way of doing this. All right, so using intercepts to graph this equation, 3x plus 4y equals 12. So is that in standard form, first of all?
No.
Yes, because remember A and B stand for your numbers. So A is 3, B is 4, and 12 is C.
Oh.
So ax plus by equals c.
Oh.
So it is in standard form. This is the first time you've seen it in numbers, so it's fine that you were confused. All right, so yes, this is what standard form looks like. All right, so what we're going to do is find the intercepts. So we're going to plug in a 0 for the opposite intercept that we're solving for. So if we're solving for x, wherever that y is, I'm going to plug in a 0, like so. So write this in your journals. Because that's really easy. What's 4 times 0?
0.
0. So it effectively just gets rid of that. So then I have 3x equals 12. How do I? It didn't do the divide. How do I get x by itself? Divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So on our graph, on the x-axis, we're going to go to 4 and put a dot.
And then we're going to go.
Now we're going to do the y.
We don't have to draw that graph, right?
Probably. Yep. It says use the intercepts to graph the equation, so we will graph it.
Okay.
All right, so now for the y-intercept, where am I putting the 0 to solve for y?
Into x.
Into x. Very good. So where that 3x is, it's going to be 3 times 0. So then I'm left with 4y equals 12. Divide by 4, so y equals 3. So on the y line, we go up to 3 and put another dot. So here's your 2 dots. They're super tiny right here. So on the x line, we went over to 4 and put a dot. On the y line, we went up to 3 and put a dot. And then you connect them to have your line. Excuse me. Intercepts are pretty easy, right? It solves the fastest if you have it in standard form. You can do it in y-intercept form up here, but sometimes you have to rearrange things. So if it's in standard form, solving for the intercepts is really fast.
Especially
The word
for
standard
if they
is
divide
so
cleanly.
Yeah, if they divide cleanly, it's super nice. If they divide into fractions, you're like, meh. So when things go into fractions, I hate graphing. I'd rather solve it algebraically.
See, that's my least favorite thing is math is fraction number lines and graphs.
Right. But see, there's always an algebraic answer. You don't have to graph it. There's always a mathematical way to solve it other than graphing, which is how I prefer. All right, any questions about how to do this? All right, I'm guessing you have more monitoring progress. Go team, go. Let's do our last example. Example 3, real life problem. This is how you can apply this to your life. All right, you're planning an awards banquet for your school. I do this every year. You need to rent tables to seat 180 people. Tables come in 2 sizes, small tables that seat 6 people and large tables that seat 10 people. So here's your tables, 6-person table, 10-person table. And how many people do we need to sit?
180.
180. So do we have a nice model?
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to graph this to decide how many of each size of table on a sliding scale we would need. So the first thing we're going to do is find the intercepts. So write your equation. I'm looking to see. They have lots of things going on. Yeah, we're not going to go crazy. All right, go back to here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to write it on the board.
Wow, this is big. Yeah.
Sometimes they go overboard in their explanations. Math doesn't need to be complicated until you get to theoretical math.
Mm.
All right. So we have 6x plus 10y equals 180. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
It's the weirdest 8 I've ever drawn. So finding the intercepts. Let's find the y-intercept first. So what am I going to plug in here?
0.
So 6 times 0 plus 10y equals 180.
Divided by 10.
So divide by 10. So y equals 18. So now again, if I want to solve for the x-intercept, 6x plus 10 times
0
equals 180.
divided by 6.
So that's gone. We're going to divide by 6.
30.
So x equals 30. So if I have no 6-person tables, how many 10-person tables do I need to get?
18.
18. If I have no 10-person tables, how many 6-person tables do I need to get?
30.
So if I were to graph this, you should be writing this in your journal. It's not a straight line at all. I'm going to try that again. Because I need to be from this angle. Oh, I need to remember. This is a real life problem, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't have mythical negative tables.
Oh.
So there's my graph.
Oh.
All right. So my y can go up to 18. So we're just going to say 18 is about here. And then my x is 30. So we're going to say it's here. If I have no large tables there, if I have no small tables here, and then if I get somewhere in between all of these, I could have values along this line, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't really have part of a table, right? So if I were to draw this correctly, yes, it wouldn't be a line because it would go at specific whole table quantities. So it would be a discrete. I'm so excited you noticed that.
Wait, Liam, can I have a pencil?
But you don't have to for this exercise. It's fine if it's a line. It says find 4 possible solutions to the context of the problem. So you already have 2 solutions right here. Because one of these solutions, you just write it in coordinate points. So this would be 0, 18. That's a solution.
Yeah.
This one would be
30.
30, 0. So there's 2 solutions. So now I could take my original equation and say, well, I'm going to get 10 of these tables and solve for y. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to erase this. So let's say I get 10 of these. 6 times 10 plus 10y equals 180. So this would be 60. So I'm going to subtract 60. So 10y equals
10y for
120.
120.
So divide by 10. So y equals
12.
12. So another solution, I bought 10 tables. So 10, 12. That would be another solution. Now, if you're graphing this on a really pretty coordinate plane that has the x and y's and all that, you could just find 2 more points. You don't have to do the math. But since I can't graph real pretty, I do the math. All right, so let's find 1 more point. Let's go on this one.
5.
So 6x, and we're going to buy 5 or rent 5 of the big tables. So 6x plus 50 equals 180. So now we're going to subtract 50.
130.
So 6x equals 130. So divide by 6. X equals. What does x equal?
125. Wait, no.
130 divided by 6. Yeah, does it come out to an even number? No, so we can't have a part of a table. So this would not be a solution.
Yeah.
So let's try another one. What if we do 8? No. What's dividable by 6? 120?
6.
Yeah.
So we do 6 here.
Yeah.
6x plus 60 equals 180. So minus 60.
120.
So 6x equals 120. Now we have a pretty divided.
Which is 30, I think. 20.
Is
6 goes into 120.
2.
20.
Oh, yeah, 20.
What did I say?
20 times.
30.
20 times.
Yeah.
So then my value here is 20, 6.
Hey.
So do you have 4 solutions?
Yes.
Done. All right. I don't care how you solve for 4 solutions on these kind of problems. If your online has a nice pretty graph, just go pick 4 points. That's fine. Although I would recommend 2 of your points being the intercepts.
Oh.
Is this your last monitoring progress? Okay, you do have an IXL also. Real quick, I'll show it to you. It's L9. All you're doing is writing linear equations in standard form. So you don't even have to solve. You're just rearranging. So for instance, y equals 4x minus 9. I need to move the 4x over to the other side, correct?
Yeah.
Subtract 4.
4x.
And remember, x is always first. So minus 4x
Plus
plus y equals negative 9. So that's all you're doing is you're just rearranging. You don't actually solve
Wait,
for
is this
the,
homework?
yes, but I'm making it not due till Monday.
Oh.
So you have 3 days to do it.
We have to write stuff down.
Yes, that's why I'm making it not due till Monday. I just want to reinforce standard form. Okay? And then you'll get the other IXL on Friday. Tomorrow will be the practice. If you want, I could open the IXL tomorrow in addition to the practice. I mean, if that stresses you out, I'll wait till Friday. I'll just wait till Friday. The practice is shorter anyhow. So, all right.